What's up, everybody? Here's 5-5. These are just my paper notes. I will do a lecture on the board. There'll be two parts to this, but for today, I'm just showing you 5.5, what I have on a piece of paper, just in case if you wanted to try a few of these problems out of the textbook. First, here are my notes to myself. I know that I'm going to use the distributive property, and then I'm making a note that I know that there will be positive and negative sign issues for you guys. So that's something I had to pay close attention to. You'll be working with the order of operations today. There is a certain order that you need to simplify your expressions. I'm sure your past teachers have told you something about PEMDAS. Anyways, you'll be doing temperature conversions. So the word substitute or substitution. And I also noted that it's okay to do the side work when needed. And then another note that I made to myself is you're going to see complex fractions. That means fractions within fractions. And what I like to tell my students, I say it over and over and over, I repeat it, is if you can read it, you can write it. Okay, but some quick notes with the distributive property. The distributive property is essentially a trick that you can use in math that helps you multiply. And instead of doing the work inside the parentheses, you can multiply your outside factor to these two add-ins on the inside. So you can do the work separately, and you can see how I move through this problem. -6 times a -1/2 is +3, and -6 times +1/3 would give me -2. Well, looking at this line, -3 minus 2, +3 minus 2 yields 1. So I'm not sure why I did this a second time. I'm just looking at this as a first glance. Oh, you might have issues here recognizing that it's a -6 times a +1/3. Order of operations says you do the work inside the grouping symbols first. Brackets are another form of grouping symbols. So I have the parentheses work inside of the brackets work. I did the parentheses work first. 2 plus 7 is 9. And then 9 minus 6. And then I can either do the work inside of the parentheses or I could use the distributive property. I decided that 9 minus 6 is very easy to do on the inside. And then I followed through with the rest of the order of operations. Temperature conversions. Hopefully you know that some people use Fahrenheit and other people use Celsius. So we're going to convert a Celsius temperature into a Fahrenheit temperature. Notice that I use substitution. I replace my Celsius, the C, with -10, the actual temperature. And then I am working through that problem using order of operations to yield the Fahrenheit temperature. Again, these are still my notes. Here's another way or another problem. Someone said that it was -40 degrees Celsius. I want to know how much is that in Fahrenheit. And oh my gosh, here is a Jeopardy question for you. When would the temperatures be the same? Well, -40 degrees Celsius is also -40 degrees Fahrenheit. And I noted that that's kind of weird since all the other temperatures would be different. Moving on, complex fractions. If you can read it, you can write it. Look at this problem. It reads -3/4 divided by 10. If you can read that problem as -3/4 divided by 10, then you can write that problem -3/4 divided by 10. This is section 5-4 work. You know how to do the rest of this problem. Keep, switch, flip. Go ahead and finish that problem. So you can see that if given a complex fraction, you should write it out. And then you're going to multiply by the reciprocal. Don't forget about the signs. So here's what I have for my 5-5 bookwork. You feel free to pause it whenever you would like. Notice that I showed 2 different methods for number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. If you can read it, you can write it. -1/4 divided by -12. -1/4 divided by -12. Keep, switch, flip, or multiply by the reciprocal. Note that there are 2 negative signs in that division problem, so my answer is positive. Whereas number 6, there was only 1 negative sign. I told myself, don't forget that your final answer should be negative. And I said -9/10 inches per week. It's not going to make sense if you don't have your textbook open. Number 7 part B. I'll zoom in on those words. Number 8, I showed 2 different methods. At first glance, they look the same to me. Those arrows I'm saying are multiplication problems. It's -4 times -1, -4 times -1/2, and -4 times -9. That is just one method you could use. Number 9. Okay, that's what I have for 5-5. If you're looking to work ahead of time, there it is.